Oh. Okay, so once you have your menu level set up, the next thing we're going to do is add our level 1 scene. So hit this little plus tab to create a new scene, and we're going to add a node 2D for this. We're going to name it level 1. We're going to save the scene. Level 1, and then we're going to add a script. Level 1. Okay, make sure we save our project, and then we're going to do the exact same thing for level 2. So again, you can go here, back to your 2D, or we can just simply add it from here. Add a 2D scene. We're going to call it level 2. We're going to save it. And we're going to attach a script. Okay, so now let's organize our file system if you haven't already, or if you haven't been doing it as you go along. So we're just going to drop level 1 script down here into the scripts folder. Okay. And just to clean this up even further, you can just take this icon.svg and put it in the assets folder. So, quick checkpoint. You should have 3 scenes, level 1, level 2, and menu. You should have 4 scripts, a game manager, a level 1, a level 2, and a menu. I'm actually just going to rename this level 2. Okay. So, now that we have these set up, let's go ahead and create our actors' scenes. Okay? So, we're going to create a few actors. The first one we're going to create is our player. The root for our player we're going to use is, all right, let me do that again for you. So the root we're going to use for our player is a character body 2D. Okay? Now when you first add this, we're going to get an error because we need to add a few things. And here's our first child node that we're going to add. So what I want to add first is a collision shape. Okay. And let's go ahead and put our view on 2D so we can see. Now notice that I'm actually going to build this at the origin and not anywhere else in our viewport. So if you were to look at like how a normal scene would look, a lot of times we'll move things into our scene. For this character, we're going to leave it right at the 0, 0. Now, for collision shape, let's use a capsule shape for this. Okay, and that should clear our error. Then we're going to add a few more things as children. So what I want to add is an animated sprite 2D. Okay, and don't worry about that error because we're going to have to add some sprite frames. I want you to add a camera 2D. And again, if something's noted incorrectly, so for this, we don't want it to be a child of the animated sprite. We want it to be a child of the character body 2D, so we can just drop it on top. Okay, and the last thing that we're going to add is a audio stream player 2D. Okay, and again, we want that noted to the character body. So, if you see it, our node tree, we have a character body 2D, a collision shape 2D, an animated sprite 2D, a character 2D, and an audio stream player 2D. So right now, let's focus on just getting our scene named, right? So let's change our character body 2D to player 1. Save the scene. Okay, so we're going to just save it as player 1. And then let's attach a script. Okay, and you should see some pre-populated see a few pre-populated variables and a function in your script. Okay, and go ahead and save that. Now again, we're just going to do a little cleanup here. We're going to drag our player 1 script into our script folder. All right, the next actor we are going to create is our platform. So what we want this to be is a static body 2D. Okay. Children nodes or child nodes for these. We're going to do sprite 2D. Need to add a collision shape. Make sure it's noted to the static body. And then we're going to add a detection. So we need an area 2D. And we need another shape for that. Now also, just want to point out if we're reusing a bunch of nodes here, you'll see them in the recent part of the node menu. So we can just take the collision shape, hit create. We're going to renode this area 2D. And we're just going to use 2 rectangles as collision shapes. Once you have that, again, same thing. We're going to rename this moving platform. And we are going to save it. Save the scene. And then we are going to attach a script. Okay. Call it moving platform. Okay, so we're going to save our project. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add another area 2D scene. Okay, and this is going to be our portal. So we need an area 2D, and then we're going to add some children. We need a collision shape. And then we're also going to add a sprite. And we're going to add an audio stream player. Okay. We're going to make sure our collision shape is a rectangle. We're going to rename our area to the portal. I'm going to save. Okay, save your portal scene, and then we're going to attach a script. All right, the next thing we are going to do is add a coin. So again, new scene. This one, an area 2D. We need children, so let's make a collision shape. This time let's make it a circle. We'll also need a sprite. Okay, we're going to add some particles. So add the GPU particles 2D. And then, again, don't worry about this error right now. We're just doing setup. And the other last thing is one more audio stream player 2D. Let's rename the area 2D coin. And then we are going to save it. And we're going to attach a script. And then we're going to save everything. Okay, we have two more screens to add. The last thing is we're going to add another user interface scene or control. Okay. And this is going to be our game display. So I want you to add a top bar. Add a margin container. Then add a an H box container. inside of the HBox container, you're going to add a label. You're going to add another label, so we're going to duplicate that. Okay. Then we're going to duplicate the HBox container twice. So you'll have 3 total HBox containers with labels inside of them, with 2 labels. Actually, we're going to duplicate it one more time. So you actually want 4 total HBox containers with 2 labels. And then we are going to add one more HBox container. And we're going to insert 2 buttons inside. Okay. Now let's see. Okay, and when we come back to build out our HUD, we will rename everything, but so far you can rename your control HUD. We want to save your scene HUD, and we want to attach a script HUD. And we'll just do our cleanup again down here. So make sure all our scripts are in the right spot. You can always resize these windows if you need a little more space. Okay. And then what we're going to do is move our actors' scenes into their folders. So you should have your actors, your coins, your HUD should be here. Your coins, your moving platform, your player, and your portal. Go ahead and put in your actors. Okay, and then your HUD, your level 1, level 2, and menu should go in your normal scenes, and then you should have all your scripts. And then the last thing we're going to do is our end scene. Our end scene is very much the same as our HUD and our menus. It's just a bunch of labels and buttons. So we're going to do a control again. And this time, let's use a center container. Okay. And then next, I'd like a V-box. Container. We're going to add a few labels, so let's add 3 labels into that. Then within that same container, let's add an HBox container. And inside of that, we're going to add 3 buttons. should have one VBox container with 3 labels, one HBox container with 3 buttons. Cool. Okay, once you have that, we're going to rename the control end. We're going to attach a script called end and create. Okay, so the final thing we're going to do is just make sure all our scripts, scenes, and actors are all saved and in the right spot. So we should have 5 scenes, your menu, level 1, level 2, your HUD, and your end scene. Okay, you should have 4 actors, your coin.tscn, your moving platform, player 1 portal. And then for your scripts, you should have 10 total scripts: a coin, end, game manager, HUD, level 1, level 2, menu, moving platform, player 1, and portal.